parents found out about 2 months later and made me get a job. I detailed cars for about 3 months, got a job at Honda East, and the rest is history.
So you did parts first, though, right?
So I did parts there. I started in the back. I was shipping and receiving. They let me ship your boxes out, ship the boxes out to the dealers. That was all I did there. I think I spent maybe 60 days doing that, and I got promoted to the counter. I spent maybe 9 months at the counter, and then decided I wanted to pursue a mechanics degree.
Okay.
So I went down to MMI in Florida.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Okay.
So I left Honda East. I spent a year and a half in Florida. I'm technically certified in Kawasaki and Yamaha, I think. I think those were the 2 degrees. And it doesn't matter now, I guess, because that was a long time ago. Bikes have changed a lot, but
they got round tires now. That's square.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so I spent a year and a half down there, and I worked at dealers down there. I actually developed an online store for a dealer down there. And Honda East saw that and said, "Hey, come back. We want you to develop our online store here." And they recruited me to come back. And I think I stayed there for 4 years, maybe. And that's when I started the suspension company. So I came back with a degree as a technician, and I said, okay, I'm doing sales. I need to keep this degree alive.
Right.
And when I was in Florida, I had 3 or 4 of my professors that actually had suspension shops. One of them actually had the shop in front of Redbud. It used to be called 911 Moto. So it was the building in front of Redbud Motocross Park.
Okay.
And that was a really successful shop in the 90s. They actually had bikes in Dirt Bike Magazine and Motocross Action.
Cool.
So he was one of my professors down there. And then my Yamaha professor, he also had a suspension shop. So I'm talking to these guys and kind of learning about the suspension side of the industry, and it clicked. I'm like, I think I want to do this. And I remember I had a 2008 YZ450F, and I've always been a big guy, so stock bikes have never been perfect for me. And I took it to this shop in Orlando.
That's where MMI is, right?
Yeah,
Orlando.
MMI Orlando is where I went. And I took it to this shop in Orlando, and it was in this guy's backyard, basically. And he took me back there. He showed me. I said, hey, I want to get this thing sprung for me. I'm like, I just want to get it sprung for me. It's too soft. And he's like, yeah, man, I think you might need some valving. You're a little big for it. Like, let's talk about some things. And I'm like, no, I just want springs. So he's showing me the pistons and the shim stacks and how to really build a set of suspension.
Mm-hmm.
And, I still didn't believe him. I'm like, oh, it's a Yamaha. They handle perfect. You don't need suspension work on a Yamaha. It's got KYB, right? And, so he showed me all this stuff, and I got the bike back, and it handled terrible because I didn't listen to him. So long story short, I learned a lot down there. I had a few setups done where I kind of guided the path of where I thought it should go, and I was wrong. And I came back and I said, let's start a suspension shop. Let's learn. And it was 2008, end of 2008 when I decided to do it, and I launched it in 2009.
And for those that don't have any idea, never heard of it before, what is the official name of your suspension business?
So most people know it as turbo speed tuning.
Right.
That is what I launched in 2009. Today, it's obviously, there's a few other names behind it as well. We've built it a little bit bigger. It's Ryder Sport Group.
Right.
Which under that is Ryder Power Sports, Turbo Speed Tuning, and Fathom Ride Co. So we've expanded the business, but it's still Turbo Speed Tuning.
Okay. And I guess, so you come back to the area, you get that going. I mean, who's like your first customer? I mean, how do you market a suspension company when you've not really done that? I mean, how do you climb that mountain, Mitch?
I honestly have no idea. I can't even look back and tell you how I did it, but I know who my first customer was.
Who was it?
Darren Elford.
I don't know that name.
It was Glenn Elford, because Darren was probably 13. So
okay,
his dad came in and said, "Hey, I've got this KX100. My kid is too tall and too lanky. can you make it not crash? I said, well, I can make the bike handle. I can't make your kid not crash. And to this day, I would still say that's true about Darren. I can't make him not crash.
It's right.
I don't know who that is. Is he a local guy?
Yeah, he's a local kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but yeah, he was my first customer, and
And you're doing this in your garage?
yep,
At the
he
house-
brought it
at
in
your house?
for. I did a top, maybe a full motor at the time, because at the time we did suspensions and motors. I think we did a full motor or maybe a top end, and then suspension job too.